To predict a genius, you need to be a genius. They're actually doing it. They're doing the thing that I was so certain they're gonna do since the new war. The B-side start, where you start as drifter instead of starting as your frame.
When we release the duviri paradox, it is going to become the new optional beginning for Warframe. So if you can imagine, you're really into Warframe and you're like, wow, I really want to play that duviri paradox update. When you install the game, you're going to be presented with a choice. Do you want to start at the beginning or do you want to start at the paradox?
Huh?
If you just installed Warframe today, you'll be able to play the duviri paradox at any point in your journey as well. It's not like it's just a choice on the front end. It's like a choice for the whole time.
Elden Prime is coming. Balefire remains unchanged as usual. Here's the Sandana. They give her slight stat bumps. Larkspur Prime gets small bumps to its crit. Somehow it gets double fired in a mode that is completely limited by its animation and charge speed. And then they're releasing Shade. Why is it Shade Prime? Well, it's 10 years since they released, and this is the last unprimed Tenno Sentinel. Tennogen won't be evenly split into parts but come in irregular batches. Before entering the duviri, you have to select which mode you want to enter. It's only side activities, everything, or only story. And this is for matchmaking as well. The cave is accessible from Starchart and the Dorne Zone. Combat makes it deadlier and allows a temporary use of Warframe in the duviri. Riding upgrades your horse, radar, and fast travel. Opportunity gives you more choices, better chances, and unlocks Arcane in a shop that we have not seen yet. Endurance increases total health and gives more chances to regenerate, and tolerate more stacks of something that probably fails the mission. And then it was time to pimp my Kate drive. You can select body, antlers, tail, and saddle.
Yep.
You want a dark
Electric.
horse? You got it.
Dark horse. Oh my god, that's so...
Attachments.
Yeah.
I gotta say though.
Look at my horse is amazing. Of a stroke of its mane, it turns into a plane. And then it turns back again.
Like the headgear really takes the whole edgelord vibe right off. So.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, what's the issue, Gary?
Then they walked past gardening section, which will come after release, and showed off that you can have actual mirrors, which will also be in the Dorme Zone. Besides the default dual Nikanas, you will have 4 other melee options for the drifter.
I'm a big hammer kind of
Big
gal.
hammer. So, you can smack the dummy a little if you want.
Show the dummy.
Idiot. What an
Smack
idiot.
it. Fate today blessed us.
Fate has blessed us. This is like you said. Every time, like this round is these warframes, and then it kind of resets. And as well, as you can tell, some of these are my very specific warframes.
Yes.
But if I do not own a warframe, it will also let me borrow that warframe for this session if I want to try it out.
Yeah, so we are going to, because we're going to say that duviri is essentially transient. The drifter, the void, the loop, the spiral, all of these things mean that the choices you make affect that gameplay session only. It's a run you're doing. So you don't need to, if you don't own something, we will offer you loaners, we'll offer you loaner mods. But if you have gear, and say I have my Valkyr Prime, for instance, I have several Umbra Former in her, I get that version of her.
You will have to select your loadout from random frames and weapons, and there doesn't seem to be any rule which slot is populated. There were 8 slots, but they could also change the weapon later, which they didn't do. Opportunity Intrinsic Rank 3 gives you 1 decree roll before you leave.
You got a rare?
I did get a rare. All right, out we go. All right. Today's adventure that we're playing is the Harbinger of Joy.
That's the Mexican guy first pronunciation.
Harbinger.
That's all right, I don't know. So we are out in the open world of duviri. We are in the joy spiral, which, you know, for the art team, for the sound team, you needed to make it a happy place.
What we're gonna look through now is basically one of the stories. Normally, if you're playing,
This thing in the corner is 150 overguard that you get for 10 seconds after dismounting. Mounting gets you 3 seconds.
so in this, when it generates the dynamic stories every day, it localizes kind of your little track so that you have a story that's close by and you can just kind of go from one thing to the other and finding things along the way. And every day we put you on different spots of the islands. The islands are really big.
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't want you to go through the same place every time. So
They're fixing what makes Fortuna bad. You spawning on the same spot on the same map while things are localized.
the heavy guy, ooh, he's heavy, but he's mobile, you know. He has,
Meg got
to
him.
us.
Perish.
All right.
Once you kill them, you get access to the chest.
So we're done this stage. So we get to pick another decree. We're getting our builds going.
Chest rewards for beating mobs. Finally something good they took out of Genshin. If you didn't notice it, Reb said here that she got a different role from Megan.
A bit of a different take on fishing.
It's a different take on fishing.
You speared fish. How do you feel about mowing fish?
Yeah. What if you could eat the fish?
Consume it, the fish.
So this is actually a perfect example of, you know, a side activity.
Decrees.
You get basically a chance
And
to
look,
run.
it's my favorite one.
What one?
Every day.
Oh my god.
Oh, baby, we're moving.
Super speed.
We are moving.
We are
Must have eaten
moving.
enough turtles
All
to
right. All right. So let's continue our journey.
And also from
So if you max out the fishing minigame, you get a chance for another decree roll. And as you see, there is no gear here. The drifters can't use it, only animations in the video.
We have a video. So
Oh, we do that kind of
yeah, we'll show that after.
Yeah, basically,
There won't be any mining whatsoever, and it seems that the horse can just fly straight out of the quest. There is nothing about flying in the intrinsics.
Different place in duviri.
stuck the landing.
Notice there are 0 time limits to flying, and probably mechanical as well. No one will ever walk with their horse unless they have to, and possibly you will have to land and dismount, not dismounting in air.
From the other side. So welcome to the Undercroft. Let's go in, Meg.
my drifter's so fast. I'm sprinting.
The decrees apply both to the Warframe and the Drifter. Some of them are not as effective on the Drifter. For example, earlier we got one for shields. The Drifter doesn't have shields. But, you know, the Drifter gets other benefits just from getting a boon. But boons really start going, sorry, the decrees really start going a little nutty once you get to the Warframe.
Yeah, and this right now we're in the space between space. We're about
Interesting. That means none of the buffs that they ad-hocked just because of Zariman's killing are actually going to apply here.
The circuit is essentially a sequence of these ones. So instead of playing survival, it'll be 5 minutes of survival, and once that's done, you'll go into like defense.
5 ways of
and
defense.
then you'll go into a void flood, and it will kind of cycle through those, and you'll keep on getting decrease, and you'll keep on getting nuttier and nuttier.
It will be the arcane adapters you actually want out of this, as shown later. It's not what they want you to think. They didn't get rid of bounties. They turned everything into its own bounty, and that includes exiting Undergrowth. Everything gives you 1 intrinsic and 1 decay.
one of the persistent progressions will be bursts of the drifter getting strong enough connecting to the other side that you can actually bring your warframe onto duviri with you. So these are going to be tactical bite-sized bursts where, say, you come across one of those big heavy enemies and you've done just enough damage that you can actually summon your warframe to you. So it's going to be something you can play towards.
Not only are you limited to max 10 seconds of your warframe, you'll have to actively recharge that bar. And we have not seen any indication of weapon modding or stats. They're not gonna leave it a mystery.
What the dog doing?
Exactly one can do with
Join us. Resistance is futile. Wait, don't confuse us with the Borg. We are actually...
Conservation. Ah,
Yeah, so
Good
you
boy.
can come across these
Yeah.
white
Who's a good
tainted
boy?
animals and they'll perhaps lead you to treasure if you cleanse them.
you can pet the dog.
What we actually want the most is of course the Incarnon adapters. A selection of weapons will be getting these upgrades. And of course there are differences from the original Incarnon. These fields will only have 4 ranks, and you will have to spend an adapter specific to each type. It does all require a steel path, and that includes Zeriman. Even weirder, that Skana only has 2 on the rank 2, and it seems to be overall very weak compared to even the Leto. They might be preferring certain weapons to get overpowered.
Player wanted the Skana and the Leto here, so, you know, good taste.
Yeah, so the circuit is going to be divided in, basically the rewards for the circuits are going to be divided in 2. Steel path is going to have a path, and the normal is going to have a different path. The normal path will give you essentially a warframe for playing it. So basically, I don't want to say a wrong one because we're only doing like
I think
30
Ember's
or
one.
something. Maybe. Okay, I'm going to blame it on her if it's not.
Maybe, Ember?
So imagine that week is Ember. So as a player that I'm still playing on normal, I'm building my arsenal and whatnot. I basically get all the pieces for Ember for playing that. But if I'm playing on Steel Pad, that's where I can get the Incarnon adapters. And as you can see, that's why Incarnon does still require Caballero. So that is more for late-term players.
And this is obviously unfinished UI, but do you realize what the thing down there says? You need to finish 10 tiers of steel part content, that is randomized endurance. Finally, something worth doing for those who don't give a freak about rhythms in steel part. Hallelujah! The Incarnon NATO is going to fix the biggest problem of single target weapons, that their single target. Incarnon mode gets both punch through and ricochet. Extra thick screenshots of some extra thick drifter fashion version. I could do the same thing if I lower the vertical dimension of my window, and for much less money. But I zoomed in before you. And this looks like a new win. But I'm not like that one guy on Reddit. I'm not going to cosplay as Kratos. This is obviously not all the options we don't have. The old promise of actually making these 2 styles of decks armor compatible will be delivered, and so will be the drifter version of Harrier's suit and Saito Prime. So new word shells are coming up, Mesa and Limbo. And 2 deluxe skins. The Baruch Libra with 4 arms is already in 3D as they showed. But the other, yet unnamed, Wisp Deluxe is still 2D. Of course this includes the modes and the Phalanx skin. I do appreciate the lower assets, but there is a substantial nerf up there. I don't want to buy this. If people want the gender-bent frames, that's only going to be possible through deluxe skins, and then they should at least try it, not this half nerf. And not everything was actually shown. There is going to be the Oraworm boss fight, as was included in this summary slide, and one more news, TennoCon is going to be physical on August 26th. And what is my summary? It confirmed basically everything we knew. It is a game in a game with its own story, and it's still not done, that's why they postponed it. There are many unknowns left unanswered, even after all of this. How will the horse cosmetics unlock? What's gonna be the meta farm for intrinsics? I suggest the chests. What is the way that we join the normal story? And does it start right after the quest? They should explain the first choice, that there are 2 different sides. Duviri is a roguelike, and normal story is heavily dependent on modding progression. What the heck is demoralization system? We still don't know basically anything about the story. They were hiding it. This was a showcase. This was on the story trailer. There are many placeholders or missing descriptions in the presentation. I've noticed them.
Nice.